My girlfriend demanded, "If you really loved me, you'd buy me that $12,000 Rolex for my birthday." After I'd been covering her rent for 8 months, I replied, "You're absolutely right about showing love." Then I bought myself the watch instead. She discovered that real love doesn't come with a price tag when she had to move back with her parents. But let me back up and tell you how I got to that moment, because this story isn't really about a watch. It's about what happens when you confuse love with being an ATM. I'm Connor, I'm 32, and I run a small construction business here in Colorado. Nothing fancy kitchen remodels, bathroom renovations, that kind of thing. I work hard, make decent money, about 78K a year. And I've always believed that if you love someone, you take care of them. That belief almost destroyed my financial future. Madison was magnetic. That's the only way I can describe her. 28, part-time yoga instructor, with this way of making you feel like the most important person in the room when she wanted something. We met at a coffee shop where she was complaining to her friend about her landlord raising her rent. She was beautiful, she seemed sweet, and when she smiled at me, I was hooked. Our first few dates were perfect. She was impressed that I owned my own business, loved hearing about my renovation projects. She'd touch my arm when I talked about the satisfaction of building something with your hands. She made me feel appreciated for who I was. The shift happened gradually. About 3 months in, she mentioned struggling with her $1,800 rent. Her yoga classes weren't bringing in enough, and she was thinking about getting a roommate. Without really thinking about it, I offered to help out temporarily, just until she got on her feet. That temporary help turned into me covering 100% of her rent, plus groceries, plus utilities. Madison was grateful, always promising she'd pay me back once her classes picked up. But her classes never seemed to pick up enough. Around month 5, I started paying attention to things I'd been ignoring. Madison's Instagram was full of expensive coffee dates, shopping trips, salon appointments. When I asked about it, she'd say her friends were treating her, or she'd found amazing deals. I wanted to believe her because I was falling in love with the version of her that existed when she needed something from me. The expensive gift requests started small. A $200 purse for her birthday because it would mean so much coming from you. Then $800 boots because I've never had anything this nice before. Each time she'd make it about how much she appreciated me, how no one had ever treated her so well. My brother Derek started making comments. "Dude, when's the last time she bought you something?" But I'd brush him off. Love isn't about keeping score, right? Wrong. So fucking wrong. The breaking point came on a Tuesday night in March. I just finished a brutal 12-hour day installing cabinets, hands still aching from handling heavy oak all day. I walked into the apartment I was paying for, and Madison was sitting on the couch with her phone, scrolling through Instagram. She looked up at me with this expression I should have recognized by then. This calculated sweetness, like when she wanted something big. "Babe," she said, and her voice had this practiced tone to it, "come look at this." She showed me a picture of her sorority sister Jessica wearing this massive gold Rolex. "Isn't it gorgeous?" Madison said, and I could see her eyes getting that glittery look they got when she wanted something expensive. I looked at the watch. It was nice, sure. "Yeah, it's pretty," I said, not really thinking about it. Then she turned to me, and I swear the temperature in the room changed. She put her hand on my chest and said, "Connor, our 1-year anniversary is coming up next month, and I've been thinking, if you really loved me, you'd buy me that Rolex for my birthday." Jessica told me it's only 12,000. Only 12,000. Like that was pocket change. I sat there, still in my work clothes, probably smelling like sawdust and drywall compound, and something inside me just snapped into focus. Not anger, clarity. I'd spent 8 months covering her entire lifestyle. Rent, utilities, groceries, dinners out, designer purses, expensive shoes. I'd been working extra jobs to afford her wants while she contributed maybe $300 a month from her sporadic yoga classes. And now she was demanding a $12,000 watch as proof of love. "You're absolutely right about showing love," I said, standing up slowly. "Love should be demonstrated through meaningful gifts." Her face lit up. She thought she'd won. I'm going to buy that Rolex tomorrow, I continued, watching her excitement build. Because you've taught me something really important about what love looks like. That night, while Madison was already planning her Instagram posts with her new watch, I was planning something else entirely. I called Derek. She wants a $12,000 watch, I told him. Jesus Christ, Connor, please tell me you're not actually considering this. Oh, I'm buying the watch, I said, just not for her. Derek was quiet for a moment. Then he started laughing. Finally, fucking finally. The next day, I went to the Rolex dealer. I looked at the exact model Madison had shown me, 18K gold, diamond markers, absolutely beautiful. The salesperson was explaining the craftsmanship, the investment value, the lifetime warranty. I'll take it, I said, pulling out my credit card. Excellent choice, sir. Is this a gift? You could say that. It's a gift to myself, for learning what I'm actually worth. I drove home wearing that watch. It felt heavy on my wrist, but not in a bad way. It felt like a decision finally made. Madison was waiting when I walked in, practically vibrating with excitement. Did you get it? Let me see. I held up my wrist, showing off the Rolex catching the afternoon light through her window. Her face went through about 5 different expressions in 3 seconds. Confusion, realization, disbelief, anger. That's on your wrist, she said slowly. It is, I confirmed. It's beautiful, isn't it? You have excellent taste. But I thought, you said you were buying it to show love. I did. I bought it to show love to someone who's been working 60-hour weeks to support someone else's lifestyle without getting any appreciation in return. Turns out, I needed to learn how to love myself first. That's when Madison started to panic. Connor, this isn't funny. Take it off and give it to me. That was supposed to be my watch. Why? I asked, genuinely curious. What have you done to earn a $12,000 gift? In the past 8 months, what have you contributed to this relationship besides being pretty and making demands? She couldn't answer that. We both knew she couldn't. Here's what's going to happen, I continued, my voice staying calm. I'm moving out this weekend. I'm taking my name off the lease, off the utilities, off everything I've been paying for. You'll need to figure out how to cover your own expenses now. You can't do this. Madison's voice was getting shrill. We're together. You can't just leave me with all these bills. Watch me. That night, Madison called everyone we knew. Her sister Jessica, not the sorority one, my sister-in-law Jessica, called me around 10 p.m. Connor, Madison just called crying hysterically. She says you bought yourself a Rolex instead of her and you're moving out. What the hell is going on? I explained the situation. The 8 months of financial support, the escalating demands, the complete lack of reciprocation. Jessica was quiet for a long time. Then, oh my God, I had no idea it was that bad. I mean, I knew she wasn't working much, but I thought you guys were splitting things normally. She's been living like a kept woman while I worked myself to death to afford her lifestyle. Connor, I'm so sorry. I would have said something if I'd known. That's not okay. Having Jessica understand meant everything. Madison's own sister could see how wrong this was. Over the next few days, the truth started spreading through our social circle. Not because I was bad-mouthing Madison, but because she was calling everyone frantically, trying to get them to convince me to come back and work things out. Tyler, my best friend who's also a contractor, told me Madison had actually called him asking if he could lend her money for rent. She said you were going through a phase and would come to your senses soon, Tyler said. I told her phases don't usually involve buying yourself a Rolex. My mom called me that Friday. Derek told me what happened. Honey, are you okay? I'm great, Mom, better than I've been in months. Good, I never liked how that girl looked at you, like you were a credit card instead of a person. Even my mom had seen it. How had I been so blind? The weekend I moved out, Madison tried everything. Tears, anger, promises to change, threats to hurt herself, bargaining. She offered to get a real job to pay me back to be better. If you're going to get a real job and pay your own bills, that's great, I told her. Do it for yourself, not to manipulate me into coming back. But I love you. No, Madison, you love what I provide. There's a difference. I moved into a smaller place across town. Just me, my tools, and my $12,000 watch that reminded me daily what self-respect looked like. Madison lasted exactly 1 month trying to cover her expenses alone. Her yoga classes brought in maybe $400 a week when she actually showed up. Rent alone was $1,800, not counting utilities, groceries, or the lifestyle she'd grown accustomed to. Jessica called to update me. She had to move back in with our parents. She's furious about it, but she literally couldn't afford to live on her own. How are your parents handling it? They're not thrilled. They thought she was independent and self-sufficient. Finding out she'd been essentially kept by her boyfriend for 8 months was a shock. Dad's making her get a real job if she wants to live there. Madison's parents, Robert and Carol, were good people. Middle class, hardworking, raised their daughters to be independent. Learning that Madison had been living off her boyfriend's earnings while contributing almost nothing must have been mortifying for them. Through the grapevine, I heard that Madison had to sell most of the expensive things I'd bought her just to have some spending money. The designer purses, the expensive shoes, even her car got downgraded to something more practical. Her Instagram changed too. No more expensive restaurant posts, no more shopping hauls, no more luxury lifestyle content. Just yoga poses and motivational quotes about finding yourself and new beginnings. About 2 months after I moved out, I was at the hardware store picking up materials for a bathroom renovation when I literally ran into someone at the checkout line. Emma, a elementary school teacher who'd been behind me, had dropped her receipt. "Sorry," I said, bending to pick it up. "These floors are slippery." "No problem," she said, smiling. "Thanks." We ended up talking in the parking lot for 20 minutes. She was buying supplies for a classroom project, building raised garden beds for her students. I offered some advice on the best wood treatment for outdoor use, and she actually listened, asked good questions, seemed genuinely interested in learning. "You really know your stuff," she said. "Would you maybe want to help with the project? I could pay you or at least buy you dinner." Emma was pretty, but more than that, she was present. She maintained eye contact, asked follow-up questions, seemed to value my expertise. After months of Madison treating my knowledge like boring background noise, Emma's genuine interest felt revolutionary. We've been dating for 4 months now. Emma insists on paying for half of everything. She shows up when she says she will. She asks about my work because she's actually interested, not because she's calculating how much I can afford to spend on her. Last week, she surprised me with a custom tool organizer she'd made in her school's woodshop. It probably cost her $30 in materials and hours of her time. I treasured it more than any expensive gift I'd ever bought Madison. "You work so hard," Emma said when she gave it to me. "I wanted to make something that would make your days a little easier." That's what love actually looks like. Not demands for expensive proof, but thoughtful gestures that show someone pays attention to your life and wants to improve it. Madison tried to contact me one more time about 3 months ago. She found my new address somehow and showed up at my apartment on a Saturday morning. "Connor, please," she said when I opened the door. "I've changed. I have a real job now. I'm working at a marketing firm. I'm paying my own bills. I've learned my lesson." I looked at her and felt nothing, not anger, not satisfaction, not temptation, just calm certainty that this chapter was completely closed. "I'm glad you're taking care of yourself," I said honestly, "but I've moved on completely." "But we were good together," she insisted. "We had chemistry, we had fun, can't we try again?" "We were never good together, Madison. I was good to you and you took advantage of that." "Those aren't the same thing." She started crying then. "I know I made mistakes, but I love you, I really do." "You love the security I provided," I corrected gently. "You love having someone solve your problems and fund your lifestyle. That's not love, that's convenience." I wished her well and closed the door. She didn't try to contact me again after that. Looking back, I can see how the pattern developed. Madison was beautiful and charming, and she made me feel needed. I confused being needed with being valued. I thought if I just gave enough, cared enough, provided enough, she'd eventually reciprocate. But reciprocation was never the plan. Madison had found someone willing to fund her lifestyle in exchange for her presence, and she had no intention of changing that dynamic. Why would she? From her perspective, it was working perfectly. The Rolex sits in my watch case now, and every time I see it, I remember the moment I chose myself. The moment I decided my worth wasn't determined by how much I was willing to sacrifice for someone else's comfort. Some people will always see generosity as weakness, kindness as naivety, love as an opportunity to take advantage. Learning to recognize those people early and having enough self-respect to walk away when they reveal themselves might be the most valuable skill anyone can develop. Real love is reciprocal. It's two people who both show up, both contribute, both prioritize each other's well-being. It's not one person funding another person's lifestyle while hoping gratitude might eventually turn into genuine affection. I stopped paying for love and started requiring it. That change led me to someone who offers it freely, just as I offer it to her. The difference is life-changing. Sometimes the most expensive lesson you can learn is priceless.